And we're live. Come on in, guys. Welcome to the Survivor After Show, the Scotty Survivor After Show. We're here not with Michael this week. He'll be joining us next week, but I'll throw it over to Shane to introduce our guests for this week's edition.
Yeah, this week we have Brady from Survivor Michigan Season 3. If you haven't watched Brady's season, go watch it. There is a large plot twist through the entire season, and you should definitely go watch it. And Survivor Michigan is airing right now, tomorrow at 8, its third episode of its fourth season. So I'll pass over to Brady.
Yeah, so like Shane said, I'm Brady from Season 3 of Survivor Michigan. Corey mentioned me in the first episode, I think. He was like, there's some guy from Survivor Michigan that just doesn't wear a shirt named confessionals. That's me. I'm wearing a shirt for you guys today. You're welcome. I'd like to believe I've matured a little bit since then, but honestly, probably fucking not. But very happy and honored to be here.
I don't think there was a single confessional without a shirt, without a doubt.
I mean, fair.
So let's get into this episode. So we saw last episode Amara and Jacob go home. So at the beginning of this episode, we're seeing the ramifications of these two votes. So I guess we'll just open it up and let you guys talk about what your thoughts to the reactions were, especially the first team, Stale, splitting their votes as a front to try to make it look like they're not together. Definitely an interesting strategy.
What the fuck was that? Like, literally, that was my first question ever watching it. I'm just like, why would they throw an extra vote on, wait, how do you pronounce the name? Because it's not
Hallie.
It's Hallie, right?
Hallie.
Yeah, like, why the fuck would they put an extra vote on him and be like, oh, yeah, like, they hopefully want to work with him because he literally voted with them. But instead, they're like, you know what, let's just throw a vote on you to, like, try to, make them look like they're not together? Or, like, what was the point? Like,
I think they were so focused on secrecy. Everything with them was about keeping it a secret. But what their flaw was here was that in a tribe of 5 where you have 3 original people from the same tribe, they can't really hide the fact that they're working together.
Literally. Yeah.
And especially since their first vote was so unified, they should have just put all the votes on Jacob and it would be done. And maybe Hallie would think, oh, maybe there's a chance for me to flip them in the future. But instead, they just played their cards way too early, exposed everything.
Yeah. And jumping back to, like, this episode, if it's all about secrecy, then why the fuck is Zoe like, oh, by the way, I have an idol. Do you just, like, want to have it? Like, why is it about secrecy if you're not holding anything fucking secret? Like, what?
Yeah.
That was jumping ahead there. Like, I found it so whack, like, how Eric tries to play it off like he found that idol. Like, he's telling, like, Michael, oh, I found it in a bush, like, underneath the grass. And I was like, what the hell are you saying, dude?
There was some content there. So I didn't put this in because it was just way too confusing for the viewer to watch. But essentially, Sarah in the previous week had hidden her fake idol, and she told the boys about it. And so they knew. So he tells Michael, oh, like, I went to check on Sarah's idol. So, like, there was, like, a little bit more context, but still, like, really whack. And, like, he definitely shouldn't, like, play it off. Like, he should. But the problem is there, I don't think Eric had a right move, because if he tells Michael that Zoe gave him the idol, it reveals that Eric is working with them the whole time.
Which he was trying to be like, we don't have anyone else to work with.
Exactly. And so Michael could easily just flip on Eric. But, I mean, that would make sense because he's just going to play his idol. I guess Michael's correct move here would have been to try to convince Eric to play the idol on him. But that clearly didn't happen, so.
Yeah. I like, there's so many different ways it could have gone, which, like, I loved about this episode is that, like, I was still just like, what, like, is going to happen? But, like, Eric just yelling at Audrey or whatever, like, that's not how you pull Audrey into the gate. Like, what? And he's just like, oh, he kept saying, like, oh, this is the right move for you. I know the best thing ever. And I'm like, you are so fucking cocky. Like, I just, like, Eric frustrates me more than anyone else, and I don't know like what other people are thinking. I saw like at least in the first episode, I remember like in the premiere chats or whatever, everyone like he must have had all his fanboys there that were hyping him up, but like I just don't get it. And like maybe you guys could like give me some context because like when I'm watching Eric, I'm just like, you are like the cockiest little freshman I've ever seen. You have no right to be cocky. And why do people want to work with you? So like, was he less cocky to them, or like, did he do something else like made people actually want to work with him, or like, what was actually going on?
I think when you like first approach Eric, he's so like I was watching with some season 1 people during that first episode, and they were fucking floored when they saw how Eric was acting in confessionals. The dude is so different when you like talk with him one-on-one versus in those confessionals. With the exception of what happened today with the Audrey stuff. Like here, he just like went straight at her and was like, "Yo, I know what's right for you." But like he really, I think, at least during the first episodes, clearly Shane does not agree with me. But like played it off like he was kind of just like this freshman who's just like there to like compete, have a good time, but like clearly doesn't know as much as like maybe a Corey, maybe a Zoe, etc. And can be kind of like taken under their wing. Whereas like in his confessional, the dude's like trying to default back to his like experience as like a varsity athlete back in high school, and he thinks he's a shit. So like he still thinks he's a shit despite being in college.
I don't know if I would agree with Eric not coming off like that. Maybe not to this extent. But like in the first,
I think he comes off as cocky in person.
Yes, he does. Okay, I love Eric. I do. Like I know Eric outside of the game. I work with Eric outside the game. However, he's definitely cocky. Sorry, Eric. And if you saw in the first episode, his intro video literally set everybody up to have negative opinions of him. And the only reason, in my opinion, why he was able to solidify things so quickly was for really two reasons. One, because he was there on night 1 where people are like thinking now's the time to make an alliance, right? Corey and Zoe already knew each other. May kind of knew Corey through like an inner works. And then there's Eric. Eric is there. He's an athletic kid. He's somebody that is strong. However, people know that he's a threat right away. Corey was immediately sus of Eric. And then on the other side, Michael is like, I don't know if I would like vibe with Eric in real life, but because of that, I think he's a great person to work with. So because nobody will see it coming. So I don't know if it's because Eric doesn't come off cocky. I think he definitely does come off cocky, not to the extent that he does in this.
I think there are levels.
Episode level, and definitely not to the extent that his roommate comes off in season 2.
Oh damn, his roommate's insane.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if Eric doesn't come off cocky. I think he comes off as a player who's here, ready to play. He knows he's good. And I think people want to keep him around because he's beneficial for them. But I don't think that they don't think that he's cocky.
Yeah, because like you can even see, like, I think it was it episode 4 or 3 where there's like the planking challenge and they like kicked him out of it. And he's just immediately like, oh, like this is my shining moment. Do like a 5-minute plank. And I'm just like, you're just doing this like in front of everyone, having this like dramatic internal conflict, and people like aren't questioning it. Like I know when I played, like someone does that and you're just like, yo, like they good? Do I want to work with them? Like at least from like season 3, like Will would do something like that during a challenge and you would just be like, Will, like, oh, you a little crazy, you know? So like I was just wondering like if people had that vibe, but I mean, he was in a decent position until like this episode at least.
I think what Eric's failure is that he has people on the Ogun team, Leo, and then by association, Olivia and Anthony, and then everybody that they're working with who are like, fuck this kid. Like, he's got to go right away. And like, we see that in Leo's confessional, like where he's like talking about like Eric after the playing challenge. Like, he wants him out right away. And the only reason that he didn't go home tonight was because they knew he was going to play an idol on himself. If he didn't have that, he was host.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and speaking of, like, you mentioned Leo a little bit. I love the Leo-Sarah thing that was going on at the beginning of the episode specifically. Like, Sarah literally comes out of that and isn't, like, again, like, try to relate to what I played. Like, you come out of a shitty vote and you're like, okay, how can I get in a better position in this game? Like, I lost an ally. Like, what do I do? And Sarah literally goes, fuck the game. I want Leo out now. I'm tanking everything, throwing my idol away, and getting Leo the fuck out of here. And like, I love it. Made great TV, but it's just like, Sarah, like, what are you doing?
I think that one was very personally motivated because he like kind of messed with her feelings, I think. And I think anytime you get blindsided, it's just like, you never feel good. I mean, it's never a good feeling. So I think it'll be interesting to keep a watch on Sarah. Will she go for Leo right away? Will she play the long game? What is she gonna do? But definitely, it was an interesting strategy that everybody on that team, except for Leo, was like, let's throw the challenge.
Literally. And Leo did like mention, he was like, Sarah must have been trying to throw the challenge, but why? So I'm interested to see if he can figure that out. But yeah, there's definitely like I see a little nod from Shane.
But yeah, he thought that Eric was gonna. So another thing that was just too confusing to really in here was that Leo was obviously updated on everything that was happening because Olivia was just feeding him the information. But Leo played no role in this vote whatsoever. Like, this was completely Olivia's show. Like, this vote was all her, pretty much. Her idea, her getting Audrey to flip was all her. Anthony didn't really do much. He just went with the flow.
Yeah, he didn't do much at all.
But Leo knew from Olivia that Eric could potentially have an idol. And so he thought that Eric would give Sarah an idol to play because he knew that they were aligned. But what he didn't know was Sarah actually had the idol herself. So after this vote, I think he's thinking, I'm probably fine because Eric's idol is fleshed out.
Yeah, absolutely. And didn't like Corey go to someone? Did he go to Audrey and was like, oh, there might be an idol played or something? I think I remember that from the episode.
Olivia.
He went to Olivia.
Yeah, went to Olivia. So Olivia's like, she's getting fed everything. She's still got her idol. She's entertaining on camera. Like, Olivia, probably the favorite right now. And like, I love it because she's like crazy, but like crazy, like the best, like nicest way. Where like, you know, she's gonna give you good content, but you know, like, I don't think she has like a good survivor grasp, but like she kind of is just like going into it and just like being herself, but it's working. Like for this vote, like you need to be nice to Audrey and like kind of just like be her friend instead of like Eric who's like kicking chairs. And like Olivia, you see her even at Tribal. She's just like laying down. Like she's fully laying down, like on her side, just like, yeah, you know, we're just at Tribal and just talking to Audrey like, hey, Audrey, like, this is it. Meanwhile, like, Eric and Michael are just yelling. And, like, I don't know if, like, it's pure strategy and, like, she knows people that well. I think she's just, like, herself and people like her and she's getting away with it. And it's, like, going great.
I think the thing with Olivia is she had absolutely no game knowledge coming in. But her ability – so she was an acting major before she got to Carnegie Mellon. So she clearly knows how to act. And she's learning the game quickly because she's realizing that you can't get voted out with an idol. Like – anybody who gets voted out with an idol. And she's allied with Leo, who is one of the biggest super fans in the entire cast. So she's hearing all these plans, and then her brain is going like, blah, 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 blah. I think the problem with Olivia now is that pulling off a major blindside like this, like not just like a 3-2 vote like they did last week, but pulling off a blindside with a split vote like that is so incredibly dangerous. And I mean, will it reveal that they potentially had an idol? Like, are people going to pick up on that? Because if so, she could be in major trouble. If people really realize that Olivia was the mastermind behind that. But if they don't, if she keeps playing the way that she has been, which is, she said it in the beginning, I'm going to play dumb, I'm going to play unathletic, I'm going to act like I don't know what's happening. If people don't pick up on that, she's in a good spot.
Yeah, and she's doing a great job of that. And she's in a great position because of it. And another question I have, just Leo, I'm imagining he's one of the people that has like hours and hours of footage every week. Is that true? Like, that's just my COVID gave me a little
I remember like at least the first week compared to like everybody else. I remember I was like looking at like a 30-minute confessional of like him just roasting the entire cast. but maybe over the course of the season.
Yeah, Leo he would give like long confessionals, but it wasn't like he would give maybe like one or two like longer confessionals, but it wasn't like his folder was like completely full. Like Olivia's folder that week was like but like Leo's was like literally had one video the entire week. So I mean, in College Survivor, you're like when you're editing, you're working with what people are giving you. So like the whole reason that Leo wasn't as featured in the whole like Balder post tribal was because I was working with what I had. So there's only so much you can do with that. And I mean, I got what I got from him, and that's what was in the episode.
You know what I was surprised by? So much Hallie content this week. I was like, yo, the fact that he actually like submitted content, I was thrilled. Like the dude, I felt so bad like during these first few weeks where you barely see him because like he's doing nothing as far as like filming is concerned. Like he's having these talks, but like not filming any of them. We had to be on his case about that, which sucks because he came into his interview and he was the one interview that I think impressed me the most. Because like he comes off so just like nonchalant and like kind of aloof at first, and the dude's like a huge like encyclopedia of like Survivor knowledge. Started like listing off different like Survivor villains he wanted to play like. So hopefully you see a little bit more about that as the game progresses. The fact that he got lucky and may solve that puzzle gave him another week of survival here.
I think the thing with Hallie that like I actually didn't realize until I was editing this episode was that Hallie actually has a decent amount of content. It's just all in the wrong folder. So.
Oh.
I literally was just like, I know this video exists because I took it. And so, okay, where is it? And then I was just like, oh, they're all here. They're like literally all in this folder. So I think we'll see more of Hallie.
Okay, good. Because I've been like taking notes on like each episode or just like writing down a couple of my thoughts that I've been going by. And this one I wrote down, I was like, there's Hallie content. I fucking love it. Like one of my like up and coming favorites. But like, yeah, like he's entertaining. He's doing well, but obviously he's just in a really shitty position.
What did you think of like him at the beginning versus like when Olivia told him like, it was just interesting to me. Like he felt so secure from that vote, which was like, what? Why would you feel safe after that vote?
Yeah, I don't know. Like again, he does. Is he a freshman or is he young?
He's a freshman, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you can always tell when like the freshman, when it's a freshman or when it's someone younger, and they're always like a little naive. Like I think Audrey is just the peak of that, and you can just tell from like Hallie that he's just got a little bit of that freshman where it's like some freshmen like and a senior says something to them and they're just like, that's it, like that's gold, listens to everything, and so it's very interesting to find like the freshmen actually like stand up to people. Like Eric's doing that a little bit, but like that's kind of my impression of Hallie, where it's just like following along what the people say, but I know you can be entertaining and do some shit. I want to like see it happen. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. Well, speaking of freshmen standing stuff, let's talk about Audrey because Audrey had a great episode. Like this was the first time that we really saw Audrey play the game. Like Audrey has been on defense since episode 1, and here she was fully on the offense. She had all of the power. Except for the fact that Olivia orchestrated the vote and just kind of strung Audrey along. But Audrey could have completely just been lying to them and completely fucked them over, which she didn't do. So, yeah.
Like, Audrey, like, she just, like, you keep putting innocent freshmen, like, you're changing it for a little bit of people, but hers as innocent freshman is just too perfect. It's too good. She is, like, the most, like, she can just be influenced by anything, I feel like. And people just gotta figure out how to get there. And so, like, I feel like Audrey can't even take this as her move because it's just people, like, playing her and figuring it out and figuring out how she works. But I do at least respect her for sticking to her guns when Eric and Michael are yelling at her instead of being like, I don't know, we'll see. She's like, I did what I did. Like, deal with it. And, like, that was probably my favorite part where she just goes, you guys saw who I voted for. Like, I'm not changing it. And I'm watching it. I just lost it.
Well,
like,
I was during when that happened. Like, I was on mute. I was laughing so hard. Like, I could not believe that this was coming out of Audrey's mouth. Like, Audrey, the quietest person in the game, like reeling. And that was just too good. And meanwhile, Eric and Michael are like lying. I think the right. I don't know if there was a right move for them here, but I think Michael's right move would really just to be throw Eric under the bus here and be like, I didn't know about any of this, and he didn't do that.
Yeah. So like from Audrey, it doesn't like, I think it just comes with like the innocent thing. Like I don't think she said that to them in like a fuck you guys, I did what I did. It's kind of like a, well, you guys like saw what I did, but it came off just so funny. But like I think if Michael throws Eric under the bus, like Michael's like fucked the next week, because I feel like
I agree.
He's kind of screwed. So he kind of had to stick with it. And I think their only way truly out of it was just getting, or his only way out of it was getting Audrey to vote with them. But they just did it in all the wrong way. Like Michael kind of relied on Eric to do it, and Eric's getting angry, yelling at her, saying I know what's right, kicking chairs. Like that's not how you're gonna pull like this nice innocent freshman. You just like sit her down, talk to her, make friends instead of like telling her what is right. So I feel like Michael had to trust Eric, and Eric kind of just fucked it.
Well, not only the thing is there was no surviving for either Eric or Michael this week. Even if they had flipped Audrey, if Eric was going to play his idol no matter what, because he didn't trust Audrey at all. If Eric had played his idol for the right person, if he had played it for Michael, Olivia would have played it for Anthony, and Eric would have gone home.
Well, did Audrey tell them that they were voting for Anthony as well?
Yeah, they knew because Anthony had a huge kind of target on his back from the last challenge where he literally was like the only person answering everything.
Fast.
So it was pretty obvious. Plus, Michael and Olivia knew each other from the School of Music, so there was no way in hell that he was writing her name down. So it was kind of an obvious they're voting for Anthony.
Gotcha. And again, that's
no go. Yeah, you go.
It's just that's just the good position that Olivia's in. Like she's just the nice, friendly person that almost no one seems to hate and everyone kind of likes. And they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna, and you think about it and you're just like, oh well, I don't want to vote for Olivia. We're gonna vote for Anthony. But they can see that and be like, oh shit, they're voting for Anthony. And obviously they don't think that they don't know anyone has an idol. But think about that. That makes Olivia's game so much more clear that they're voting for Anthony, and you can react based on idols played around.
Well, if you think about her confessionals, she's like, I don't want to play it on Anthony. She comes off so confident that it's Anthony. She never thinks when she says, I don't want to play the idol. She's not like, I don't want to play the idol on myself. I don't want to go home. She's never worrying about that. She's like,
yes,
Anthony. So that just makes her game a lot stronger. I agree.
Exactly. And she's so relaxed at Tribal, laying down in bed on her side, just loving every second of it. And if I was in a tie vote, if I was Anthony, I probably would have been like, hey, Audrey, come up, please. But instead of they know, they're just sitting back, relaxing, knowing they have her in the bag. Well, Michael and Eric are freaking out. And I liked Michael. I liked Michael a lot, but I'm going to miss him. But yeah, there was nothing they could do either way.
Yeah, this was definitely one of the saddest eliminations, I think, because the thing about Michael was that he is this huge super fan and he's playing, but he was just so oblivious to the fact, when he's talking, he really genuinely believes what he's saying. He didn't know that there was all this other stuff happening. So they're thinking he's just lying. He's not lying. He just doesn't know that there's a lot of other things happening. So he really just got fucked over by Eric in this game. He didn't really get fucked over by Olivia and Anthony. He got fucked over by Eric by his poor management style. So RIP Michael. Govin, do you have extra thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I just feel super bad for the kid. He was one of my absolute favorite casts. The dude, when he was talking about in his interview, he was like, oh, I've played these games before with my friends in high school. I've won every time I've played. And he just came in with such an expectation that he was just going to command everything. And then he ends up getting hitched to Eric. And then Eric is cocky as hell. So then you see just Eric think he has Audrey so far underneath his finger. And this is, I think, the coming out episode for Audrey. And I'm so about it. You see how she just is building this confidence. And I think you're going to continue seeing that in at least next episode. And just watching Eric and Audrey's trajectories switch. You just see Eric losing his mind, whereas Audrey's now gaining all of that power. I think there's only so much confidence to be had in Stever, and like it's just like switching from like one freshman to the other.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Stever is like a freshman dorm that we have that Eric and Audrey both.
That too, yeah. But that was also a weird thing. Like, I don't understand. Like, this is episode 1. Why does Eric walk up to Audrey's dorm like the moment he like finds out like who's in the game? Like, that is the worst move possible to like let everybody know like, hey, I've got this person here.
I actually don't think that it was a terrible move on Eric's part, because if I'm Eric, I'm a freshman in the middle of a pandemic who doesn't know anybody, and meeting a new person on the other tribe like on day 1 is like a pretty good idea, I think.
Oh, I agree with that. What I disagree with is doing it while still on call with your entire tribe and bringing up the camera with the Zoom and then being like, "Hi, Audrey, meet my entire tribe." Like, that's not a good way to make a first impression. Like, she's a scared freshman.
That's questionable. Yeah, I think Eric definitely like that was a weird move, but I don't think it had real ramifications. Like, if anything, Eric played into that advantage, and Audrey really had no idea that Eric was just telling his tribe everything that she was saying to him. So like I said, she is really like an innocent freshman, so just telling Eric things willy-nilly, thinking that like, he was keeping it to himself, but like he was just spilling all the beans to both groups of people that he was working with, which is like I find that so hard, like to keep track of like who you're telling what. Like, this is why you stick with one thing. Like, if you start breaking it up, you're gonna have to like literally like take notes on what you're saying to what person, otherwise you're gonna fuck up, you're gonna say something wrong, and like he said something wrong.
Yeah, and like I agree with Govan, like finding someone on the other tribe that you can make the relationship with, like that gives you so much power in the game, but you can't let people know. And like it's like the fact that he like he brought them on the phone to meet her, like that's dumb. Two, like the fact that he was telling them everything, that basically is just like, okay, I have this ally that I could actually have, but instead I'm like, I'll just stay with my tribe, you know? Like, no. The best way to do it is like you keep a secret alliance and you be like, Audrey, I'm gonna tell you things, you tell me things, we'll trade each other, not tell anyone anything else, and like hope that it works. And then if some shit happens, like in my season when like Ben was gonna get voted out of tribal council and we had that secret alliance, I went up to Ben, I said, Ben, they're going to vote for you. Play your idol. And then you have power that way. But instead, he's just like, okay, I have this relationship with Audrey. I'm going to tell you guys everything. And then, like, no, that's not it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people that are starting to dip into cross-tribal lines, Corey...
Smooth transition.
Corey decided to tell Olivia... We talked a little bit about this earlier. But Corey decided to tell Olivia that there was an idol being played. I think that this was a little bit out of spite, in my opinion. But I don't think this is a bad move from Corey, because based on what we've seen so far, we've lost 6 people now. Merge is coming soon-ish. So, I mean, setting yourself up in a position knowing that you're merging soon, Corey is definitely like in a great spot to make the merge because he's got his tribe literally on lock. Yeah. Knowing that he can make allies on the other team is a really smart thing, and telling them about an idol is also really smart. However, Corey is showing his cards that he knows about the idol, which I think was maybe not the right call. He should definitely be reaching out to Olivia and other people on Ogun, but telling them that he knows that there's going to be an idol play, a little risky in my opinion.
Yeah, and that could bite him in the ass so fast, because all of a sudden it goes from like him telling Olivia there's an idol being played to like Olivia being like, oh, did Eric find the idol? To him being like, well, no, Zoe found the idol. And then all of a sudden all information is gone. Like Eric's game could be fucked. Corey's game could be fucked. Zoe's game could be fucked. It could literally just explode. So like, I totally agree. Like they got to start branching out and like making the alliances on the other side. But like, you don't need to tell someone about an idol. Like,
yeah.
Like, especially if it's not your own idol. Like that's not your place to tell it.
And he definitely told like the wrong person. Like if there was one person in this game he should not have told, it was not Olivia. Olivia loved Olivia, but she cannot keep her mouth shut.
She cannot. She goes, I'm telling no one about my idol. And like 2 minutes later, she's like, Anthony, by the way, I have an idol. I'm like, fucking damn it.
not only that, she told literally her entire tribe that she knew about this alliance, which, I mean, good move in a sense, because her going to Hallie, I think, was probably one of the strong. We didn't get a lot of content on this, but her going to Hallie was probably one of the strongest things that she could have done, because Hallie and Audrey are like this. And if Hallie trusts Olivia, Audrey's going to trust Olivia. So that was a big power play. But you don't tell your whole tribe that you have all the information, because you're seriously gaining like a threat level. And her threat level is not being managed right now. However, people think she's nice and sweet and unassuming, and just has information. So maybe it'll skate by, but like, I don't know. That's definitely bold of her.
Yeah, she's gonna either like make moves or she's got to do something, because I feel like I love Olivia. I love her confessionals. I love how she's playing, but I can totally see her getting like 2 votes into merge and people being like, wait, you like Olivia, you like Olivia, you like Olivia, you like Olivia. Oh shit, Olivia's in a great position, and then getting her out. So she's got to do something to manage that or mitigate it or somehow get herself out of the threat level, because again, she's doing great, but I don't think she's intentionally like knowing that she's doing great, because she doesn't know Survivor too well, that she's got to figure out that she's a threat now and people are going to get threats on at merge.
I think she definitely knows what's going on. Like, if this episode told us anything, it's that maybe she said it herself, she's a little naive because she's trusting of people. But the second that somebody does something that's a little sketchy, she's onto it right away. So I think that's like what's working well for her. But I agree in the sense that she's got to figure out how she can manage her threat level, because this is going to put a huge target on her back. Because definitely, I think some people on the other tribe wanted her out more than Anthony.
One person who I want to shout out, who's I think doing like a very good job at like making those connections, but still like keeping things hush, is May. I think that May has done like a really good job right now of like having these relationships with a lot of people. Like, everybody knows better Apple Mile stuff, even if like they don't think that like they're being so like non-secret about it and whatnot. But like Sarah is like, oh yeah, no, I'm keeping this on the down low. Hallie is like, oh yeah, I'm good with May. Like, May is my number one on that tribe. Like, I think that that's like pretty impressive stuff that you're able to create those connections, because you see other people on that tribe. Like, let's take Zoe for example, just like having those connections in the Apple Mile group, but not really trying to branch out, because like at some point that's for sure going to fall apart, right? So you need to make sure that you have those like alliances elsewhere too. I think she's setting herself up pretty well.
Wait, I kind of disagree, because May
really?
I think is a very precarious situation here, because I think that you're right in the sense that she's making allies, but she's making allies in a bad way. Like, she is setting herself up poorly in the sense that she's hiding so much from people. And like Sarah said it herself, she's like, I don't know how much I trust May anymore. And then Hallie's like, I don't know how much I trust May anymore either. Like, she's making allies and she's like a little unassuming, but she's doing it in a way that's not setting her up for like a good like long game, because she's saying that she's honest, but she's lying straight to people's faces. She said it right at the beginning, like, oh, I spent like half of the conversation lying to his face. And then Olivia goes and tells him that she's lying to his face. Like, that's not a way to keep allies.
And
I think at the end of the day, or go for it, Brady.
I was just gonna say, like, that's such an interesting thing about like Survivor is that, oh, sorry, my voice is going. Like, someone could look at you and be like, you're in a great position. Someone can look at you and be in a bad position. And I think like by default, keeping things secret is a pretty good idea in a social game. But when you're around people who are being so open, we're like, Zoe's like, by the way, I have an idol. By the way, I'm gonna give my idol to Eric. Like, that's when it can get kind of bad. So almost like, I think she's playing great in the fact that she is trying to keep things secret, but it's backfiring because the environment of the game is so, you know, tell people everything. Let's be honest. Let's share idols and shit. So I think that's kind of like, it's definitely like two sides of the same coin almost.
Yeah, I don't think May is playing poorly per se. I just think that because of who she's allied with, it's setting her up poorly for merge, because people are going to know that she's with these people. And so it may not place her in the best spot for people to trust her.
I just think that people are going to be going after this, like, maybe less so now with like Michael no longer being around and the Scotch and soda thing not being as big of a deal. But like, whenever you hear Olivia like starting up that conversation, they're like, Zoe's in it, Corey's in it, so many people are in Scotch and Soda, and like she's surrounded herself with that group of people without being named as one of those people herself. And like at the first bit of those conversations, like people assume she's part of that alliance, but she's not the first person who's coming to mind when you're naming that alliance.
That's true, but that also could like be not necessarily
that could
good.
be the reason to take her out. That could like she's no longer a shield. Like you can like take her out.
That could be bad for May's long-term like plans too, because like people could see her as kind of like a goat, somebody who's just kind of like riding their coattails and not really doing anything. Like, sure, she might have allies that keep her in the game, but if you're not making moves, like at the end of the game, what's going to happen?
Exactly. So I'm incredibly interested to see where she goes, because she could go either way, and I know you guys know, but I don't. I'm super excited to see it. And yeah, again, it could go totally either way, and I want to see what happens.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk about the challenge. We had Sarah trying to throw. Let's talk about Sarah trying to throw the challenge.
Like, I think her in the beginning of that challenge, she was doing a great job just being like, oh, cards, oh shit. Like, but like still trying, because like that is something that like the slightest little breeze or nudge can knock it over. But the second y'all said that she could fold the cards, and she's like, oh, not gonna fold cards, that's like the most obvious telltale sign that they said, let's make this challenge easier, and you're going, no. like I loved when Sarah just goes, fuck my own game, playing an idol, getting Leo out, throwing challenge, like, cool. But when you're just so obviously doing it like that, at that point, you might as well just go, other tribes, you guys win, and stop. But instead, she like still completed the challenge, and then people were like, oh fuck, like she tried to throw but still did it, and then Leo somehow god tier put that fucking puzzle together.
Let's talk about that, because Leo just pulled off a major blindside, and then he shows that he's incredibly good at puzzles. Was that a good decision for him? Like, yes, in the sense that he's safe, but like I don't think he's managing his threat level well.
So what I liked about this was that basically like Sarah and Leo were almost like an opposite position, where like Leo, looking at it like clearly from his point of view, he said, I should throw this challenge, vote Sarah off, and we can be good. And Sarah very clearly should be like, I want to win this challenge so I don't get voted out. But instead they're doing the opposite. And Sarah like does like tries to throw the challenge, but ends up in a better position from her tribe winning. And Leo also ends up in a better spot by killing the challenge. So I think like obviously I think online having someone be like a physical challenge threat, there's not too much merit to like voting someone out from that. So I think Leo's in a much better position, because he might have gone home if they lost the challenge.
I mean, I think things will change like for physical threats once we start having in-person challenges, because then everybody can literally see what everybody's capability is. But for now, I don't know if that plays into like the strategy. But I think people are starting to realize that like Leo's coming off really strong. So that could be harmful for him in episode's future.
You got so lucky, like so freaking lucky. Like I remember just being in that moment and being like, you have like Audrey, who's like the puzzle wizard. Like that's what she like prides herself on. And I see her struggling for so long. Then Leo gets in like 5 seconds, and I'm like, what the heck did this guy do? That was god tier shit. But like as far as going back to the Sarah stuff is concerned, I think you either need to like fully throw it or like don't throw it at all. Like if I was her, I'd like put the like cards down and be like, I'm walking away. Like if you really care that much about just like being petty and trying to get Leo out, like go for it. I remember just like sitting there in the challenge itself, and like Shane, you did a great job at cutting that down, because I thought like at first we were gonna watch like that entire time, and I was just like, we were sitting there for so freaking long just waiting for like Audrey and like May to like finish that puzzle. I don't think it's like clear how quickly Leo finished it compared to the others, which I think you're right. Like Leo went off and showed that he could actually like do stuff in challenges too, which could very easily bite him in the butt, especially if what we see next week, like 2 tribes going to tribal at once. Like we got this guy who's like talking shit and he's good at challenges. Like watch out.
Yeah. So to clarify, like that, the difference between Leo and May finishing that puzzle was 40 minutes. like it was that long.
Shit.
Yeah. And Leo was behind when they started.
Oh, yeah.
So there was no way we were going to show all fucking 40 minutes of that. Like, and the worst part about it was like watching Audrey do it. She was literally 2 pieces away, like 5 different times. Like she had it, but she second guessed herself and like started taking it apart. And that's literally when she lost it because she had it. She knew she had it. And I almost thought to myself in that moment, because there was some discussion, like when all of this, like Olivia, like Michael figuring out the whole alliance thing happened. Again, didn't show it because of time. But there was some talk of throwing the challenge to get one of the 2 of them out in case of an idol. Like they wanted to flush the idol. So there was talk of like trying to maybe throw it. But then they were like, wait, but why would we throw it? Because if they have an idol and we like they play it on the person that we vote, then we're fucked. So I mean, I was thinking like, is she throwing it? But then like watching her confessionals, it was like very clear to me that she didn't throw it. She just was like so close the entire time. Whereas May was like really struggling. Like, cause it's a hard puzzle. Like I tried doing it and it took me a while. Maybe not like 40 minutes, but like it took 30.
Subtle flex.
So you're better than Audrey is what I'm hearing, Shane.
Oh yeah. There's a puzzle later in the season that like I actually could not do myself. So props to the person who completed that puzzle, because literally I sat there for like over an hour trying to figure it out, and literally somebody like literally had to force the pieces in, and I still don't know how to do it.
I think like that's one of the fun things about production though, is that like you can plan puzzles and be like, oh, this took me a while. Hopefully it doesn't take them as long. Or be like, I killed this. They better kill it too. Then when they don't, you're just like, haha, screw you. Like I like just like that you can do everything and have the fun with the challenges too. But for that puzzle challenge, like you just gotta throw shit together. And I guess Leo must have gotten, I can't say it's skill because there's no skill to that almost. Like there's some logic things where it's like, oh, get like the harder pieces in first. But he must have just gotten really lucky. And so, I mean, we'll get on him, but 40 minutes for that. Damn.
I died when you asked if you thought they had an unfair advantage. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Have an unfair
Dude, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, the dude finished in like sub like whatever minutes. Like, it was crazy. Also, as you'll see, like Shane is much better at like planning out tribal questions than I am. I kind of just like live in the moment and just do the best I can. But we'll see.
Hey, it's been good so far. Though what did throw me off though the first episode was when you said if there are any idols or powers. I was like, what the fuck is a power? But that also maybe in the future there's a power that can be played there. So that's what I'm hoping. But I've seen so much Survivor that I'm just so used to like the anyone has any idols, now would be time to do so. And I was like, idols or powers? I was like, wait, what's going on? So it threw me off.
Damn, I've heard the same exact thing from Shane. He only says idols. I always say idols and powers. Because like I think there's some, especially I think you see a little bit in season 1, like with Amara's power, and like you see some other powers too over the course of the game. For sure in season 2 you see like hella powers, but like more on that later.
But typically I feel like most powers are played like before the vote. So I think it's just funny because like if there was power being played, like, I feel like it would be played before the vote. I mean, I'm not gonna spoil for any season 2 people watching this right now because
it doesn't affect anything at all. I just like thought it was so funny. Like,
Gucci.
Yeah. Like, I've produced enough scenes where I've like I think during my season, one of the favorite things like our host said was like we had a vote and they just go, okay, that was a tough vote. Remember, you can't do that again. And we're all just like, what the fuck? And then like, do it again. They were like, please, Cooper, you gotta film another one. So,
I love Cooper for that. That is incredible. Yeah, that is so good. I mean, I feel that. Like the number of times I've definitely like had to like refilm something because like I flubbed on like a tribal question or something. Like I feel the pain. So yeah, but there's something I wanted to ask. Let's just talk about. We have to talk about Zoe giving away her fucking idol. We have to talk about that.
What the fuck was she doing? Like, what? it made no sense to me. And she's even like I don't know. Like, instead, Zoe could have gone to like Audrey or something and been like, "Hey, let's solidify your vote with like the homies." But instead, she's just like, "I'm gonna throw my idol." And then like, if Audrey like is on their side, they're good. But if she's not on their side, Audrey's probably gonna tell them who they're voting for anyways. And the idol play will be worthless. So
And let's not forget, okay, from the beginning of the show, Zoe was not exactly people's favorite person in the game. So giving away an idol, maybe she didn't realize she had that reputation. But throughout the game, I know that Zoe was not, like, at this point, like, was not talking to people on the other side a ton. So going into, again, Zoe also in a good position to make the merge right now because of the way that the Solid Drive is comprised. But when you make a merge, you want to have that idol for you, like, not for somebody else.
Well, like, what do you do? Because, like, in that moment, so at first she finds it and she's like, I'm not giving it to anybody. But then at that moment when she decides, okay, I'm going to like share this at least with like the other people in my tribe. Like, when Eric asks you for the idol, like, what do you do in that moment? Just like look him in the eye and say, no, it's mine.
But it
like,
was her idea to give it to him in the first place. He wouldn't have asked if she didn't tell him that she was going to give it to him.
The way she approached the alliance makes it seem like it's like an alliance idol. Like, that's what I take issue with more so than like giving it to Eric, because like, of course, even if she doesn't offer, I'm pretty sure Eric's going to ask for it. That's just also like the type of person he is. Like, he wants that power. I just take issue with the fact of like first telling the alliance to begin with.
No, I think that's definitely correct. I just think that like she could have like been selfish and not given it to him. I definitely think she shouldn't have told anybody about it, but I don't think that May and Corey had the expectation that she was going to use it on them. I think they were just, I think part of the reason she told them was not as an alliance idol, was more so, and she said this in her confessional last week, was that in the event that she needs to use it and they don't know, they might not trust her afterwards. And I think that was maybe a little bit flawed because, like, why would you tell people you have an idol? Like, that's the one thing you do keep to yourself. Like, anybody who plays Survivor would understand keeping an idol to yourself, because when a word of an idol gets out, the first thing that somebody thinks of is, we have to flush the idol. We have to. So I think that it was a serious miscalculation on her part to tell people about the idol, but I don't think it was an expectation that she had that it was like going to be for all four of them. I think that she wanted to save Eric for like a personal reason, which was like a serious misjudgment on her part, and could potentially really screw her over later if she were to need it, unless she finds another idol. We've seen that this cast has, like, they're good at finding idols. Like,
yeah.
Some of them find them without clues. And I mean, our campus is not that big, so comparatively to Michigan, like, there's only so many places that it could be, realistically. So I mean, finding it without clue,
to be frank, we hid some idols in places people shouldn't be looking, and they're still finding that shit. So like, it's pretty impressive stuff.
I know in one of the seasons that might come out soon, literally, like, I think the first day people found like 2 items, and then like merge was happening and we were hiding another idol, and we were like, we're gonna hide the fuck out of this idol. So they actually need clues, they need things, and like some person found it. We were like, what the fuck? Like, we were like, how?
Yeah, last season I definitely had one of those moments where I like was like, I'm gonna hide this in the most obscure place that there could be. Like, nobody will think of this. 2 hours later, the idol was found.
It's crazy. But back to like the Zoe thing, I think Zoe was screwed the second she told so many people about it. Like, if you have like a close ally, like a really tight alliance, like for like 2 people maybe, you can like tell them get away with it. But the second you tell someone and they're in trouble, they're gonna be like, you have an idol, give it to me. And then if you don't, then you're kind of screwed. And the fact that like their alliance isn't just 2 people, that it's like multiple people. But I feel like the peer pressure kind of gets to her, and she almost like has to. So I don't like, it's not an alliance idol, but the pressure that comes from it almost makes it that way, where if someone in the alliance asks for it because they're in trouble, you kind of almost have to be like,
I think her right move there would have been to try to push somehow make a connection with Olivia and Anthony or Audrey and push her towards voting Michael in that sense. If she really wants to keep Eric in the game and hold on to her idol, I mean, obviously she doesn't do this because she does have a connection with Michael, but I think for her longevity and the sake of her, if she's really caring about the alliance, which she seems like to be putting the alliance first before her own game, the smarter move would have been to try to really push Audrey towards Michael, which was already happening naturally. They wanted to vote Michael out because he was lying, but they didn't know that he wasn't lying. But they knew that Eric could potentially have an idol. So I don't know, really, really interesting.
Hot take. I actually don't think it was like that. Like after, I think the bad moves for sure, like sharing it, like the fact that you do have an idol to begin with. But like, given that she doesn't know that Olivia has an idol, like in the moment, she looks like she's like fully solidifying things with Michael and Eric because she's giving them an idol that's going to save them regardless of whatever else happens, right?
And so win Eric over anyways, and she's like, I can really win.
Wait, but I don't know if that's true because there was already suspicion that nobody knew where the Ogun idol was. So, and like people thought that Audrey was the one who got the clue from the very beginning. So, like I don't
think any of them at the time were assuming like, oh, the Ogun idol's at this tribe. Like,
no,
maybe they should have been thinking that, but like, I don't think any of them were thinking like, oh, they're going to play an idol despite already having majority.
Right, but I think that there's like when you play an idol, like I just think that when you think about the people that were running Ogun, those people are like probably the most, like Anthony and Audrey were two of the most, in everybody else's mind from watching confessionals, Anthony and Audrey's name came up so much for people at the early part of the game who could have idols. And like they came up in everybody's confessionals. So I'm kind of thinking like, what if they play an idol? Like they all said it, like, what if they play an idol? Like, and Eric's like, well, it doesn't matter because we'll play ours and then it'll be 3-2. So like they're all thinking about it. So I don't know if it necessarily solidifies things with Eric and Michael, but I do think that it was a good attempt to try to solidify things with Michael, just like failed in principle.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you can see like the tribal divide happening so much where almost, every vote is basically, all right, is an Ogun member or a Balder member going? Like, and so I think she's like also pressured in the fact that like, she's like, okay, we need to keep people from our original tribe. It's like a battle, it's a war. Instead of like, Eric could have, gone to Olivia and Anthony and been like, it sucks. Audrey's leaning for you guys. I'm fine with voting Michael. Make a relationship there. And then you've gained maybe 2 or 3 allies and like lost one. But I think like this is a huge thing in Survivors. People just get so focused on just like their original tribe and original alliances that there's so much branching out you can do. And the fact that like everyone's just like, oh no, like we need to get someone out from the other side. Like sometimes not always the best idea.
I think that Eric is also going to have issues playing damage control now because like he
fucked it.
He lied so badly too. Like his lies were so bad. Sorry, Eric. Like there was no way that in hell that they were going to believe that because Audrey was just feeding them all the information.
Yeah, exactly. So they either had to like keep Audrey slightly in the dark and just hope they trust her, or they had to just go full in on Audrey, and it was kind of like in the middle. And now like the Audrey relationship is destroyed, and it's literally just Eric left, and also like maybe lost some trust with Zoe because he misplayed his idol, or misplayed her idol. So he was in such a good position, and now I don't know how he's gonna get out of it, especially because considering like he doesn't seem like the person who's gonna like bring himself down and be like, hey guys, I fucked up. I want to work with you. Like, I want to fix things. It seems like he's going to be like, I did what was right. What I did was right, and that's it. So fuck you guys. So I'm interested to see how he tries to get out.
I think something that's interesting to note here is that because that idol was played, it's back in play. So anybody could find it, right? Because Eric, like we've all talked about, has his things in like every single pot. Like he has a relationship with Sarah, he has a relationship with Zoe and May and Corey. They all know that idol was like there. like it was Stale's. So they're all gonna be looking for it. So
Right.
that's something to keep in mind.
Well, I'm excited to see if it comes back in. But I see this question, Brady, who is your winner pick? So I'm trying to think about it because that's, again, like person in the best position right now, Olivia, hey, nice. Probably you. But I feel like I just can't see it happening. I feel like people are going to see, oh, shit, we all like Olivia. She's a threat. Let's get her out. I think it's going to, like, come to bite her. So I feel like it's got to be one of your allies or people that you've talked to where they can kind of ride you for a little bit and then kind of jump on their own, like, train once you're gone. So I don't know. Maybe Corey? That's probably my best bet right now. Oh, you hate me, she said. I do not hate you. You're one of my favorites. But again, I know from playing Survivor that, you know, it happens where you're too much of a threat and people want to vote you out. And I feel like you're going to get to that spot. And so I guess I'm going to go with Corey. Got those relationships built kind of in the background a little bit. Sassy confessionals too. Got to love it. But I'm hoping you'll just float there for a bit, make some moves at the end, and win.
That's definitely
if Cushy wasn't virtual, I'd be like putting all in on Cushy right now. I think like the girl's like set herself up so well like right now, and she doesn't even know it, but like Leo's gunning for Sarah, Sarah's gunning for Leo. She's like right there in the middle. Plus like she's got all the people on Balder who just feel like so shitty about like leaving her out of like the Kevin vote at the original time. So, and now she's like earned the trust of Ogun. I just hate the fact that she's virtual. Like it's really hard on her.
I mean, we kind of knew she would be in a terrible spot because of that when we cast her. Like, Cushy is probably in the most precarious situation just because, like, going into, like, any sort of, like, twist type thing, like, you never know what's going to happen. And, like, because she's so removed, you don't know. Like, when you're removed, you're removed. So, like, it'll be interesting to see how she navigates that.
And, I mean, yeah, there's absolutely something different versus, like, someone who's on a screen versus when they're 2 feet next to you. You can look them in the eyes, read their body language. I think it came in this episode where Eric was like, Audrey wouldn't look me in the eyes. Oh, fuck. Or like someone said Michael had shifty eyes or something like that. So, I mean, it's definitely different. But honestly, Cushy is like the cute, entertaining kind of like person that can build relationships well. She's in a decent spot, but it just sucks that she's virtual and has to like sit in her room to talk to people all the time.
Yeah, so we're about to run out of time, but Brady, do you have any like other things you want to ask about or like general thoughts?
Thoughts, like you guys have done a wonderful job putting this out, much less putting it out so quickly. Like I'm incredibly impressed. The fact that you guys filmed this in the fall and it's already coming out, like kudos to you guys. Absolutely fantastic job. And yeah, I can't wait to see where the rest of the season goes. I'll be watching hopefully every week. So yeah, and just again, well done. It's fantastically edited, and it's coming out so fast that I'm truly impressed.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brady, and thank you to the viewers. If you haven't watched Brady's season of Survivor Michigan, go watch it on Survivor Michigan's channel. It's fantastic. One of my favorites.
I find it crazy that we're shouting out Michigan here. I highly doubt there's anybody watching ours who hasn't already watched Michigan. But like,
it doesn't matter.
Also Brady gets shouted out every season so far from Michigan, or not Michigan, of Scotty Survivor. You got the Corey in season 1. We've got like Brady's biggest admirer playing season 2 currently. So you'll hear more about Brady over the course of Scotty Survivor lore.
Damn. Well, I love to see it. Can't wait to see who this mystery admirer is, but love to see it. And yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I had a great time with you guys, and yeah, very thankful to be here.
All right. Be sure to tune in next week for episode 6, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you haven't filled out the post-episode poll, go do that.
2 tribes going to tribal. What a tease the episode, Shane. What a tease. Damn, who's going to get Malcolmed?
Sorry about
that. Survivor Michigan, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. on our YouTube channel. Season 4.
This season is a banger. You should go watch it.
Every season is a banger, Shane.
That's all right. We know that already.
Oh no, I'm getting cocky. Oh shit. No.
Oh damn, Eric alert.
We make them watch, like we tell them like before the season starts, like you should go watch Survivor Michigan. Like go watch it now.
Every time but like it's only season 3, dude. We haven't sent them like anything from season 1, anything from season 2, like entirely just so they can see like how like charismatic Cooper is during season 3. That's all we want them to see.
Hey, Cooper's always charismatic. So, but we absolutely
no. Season 3 is fucking dope. Like that's why what's called everybody in season 1. I don't think we included this in like the edit. But everybody thought like it was going to be 3 tribes at first because we just shoved like Michigan season 3 down their throats so much that they were just like expecting smaller tribes. Then everybody freaked out when there was like only 2 tribes. Like, what do I do? There's so many people to meet. Like, people are trying to like plan out to get there early to be like the Bradys and Bens of like trying to meet people first in the Zoom call. Like Eric and Corey tried like planning out the times in which they like enter to like be the Brady. So like that Michigan influence is very much there.
That's so funny. Yeah, I love that Ben was just like the first person to come is going to be my best ally. Then I show up and I'm like, Ben, what's up? So
well, we saw how that played out.
it was going well until Ben kind of just blew up his own game.
It was going to happen regardless.
It happens. I was definitely the calmer one in that situation.
Yeah, you were kind of on a sinking ship there with him. So
yeah, absolutely. But,
all right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to tune in next season. Next week.
Next season. Oh, please tune in next season, too. Next season's a banger.
Season week, tune into all. Shane plays the
all day, every day.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.